Hi, and welcome to Nurturing Compassion. I'm Nicole, and here on this channel, I talk about becoming the most compassionate versions of ourselves through our lifestyle choices. If this is something you're interested in, please consider hitting the red subscribe button. Today, I want to talk about two realizations that have really helped me understand myself better and deal with stressful situations. It is becoming the middle of the semester, for me, I'm getting ready to graduate. Stress has really been creeping its way into my life. I found it very tempting to blow off my morning routine, blow off things that keep me grounded, such as exercise and meditation, journaling, and I've really had to push myself in order to stay on track with these things. Now, that is something for another video. However, what I want to talk about today is just dealing with those actual emotions of stress, anger, negativity, and overcoming them so that you're able to continue on the track of doing these things that are really good for you. Now, the first realization that I made is that you are not your emotions. And that can be a little bit difficult to wrap your head around. It sounds maybe kind of obvious, but just understanding that when you feel anger, you're not anger, right? You know that you are not that emotion, that bubbling rage that you can feel inside of you, the hotness of your body. You can physically feel it. But that is not you. That is not what you are all the time. And being able to recognize that this is just something that you're experiencing, that it's not actually part of who you are, can be really useful in getting yourself away from that, detaching from the emotion so that you can look at it objectively. And the best way to do that is, I know that it's difficult in the moment, but just when you find yourself just getting wrapped up in the thoughts that come with that emotion, is just recognizing, trying your hardest to step back and say, anger, I hear you. I hear you. What is it you're trying to tell me? And almost treating like your emotions as if they are a separate entity. Because realizing that you're not your emotions is useful, but then realizing that there's something that your emotions are trying to teach you and tell you to make you better, to help you, is the next really important step. Because when you acknowledge that I'm feeling angry and I hate this, I feel so much negativity inside, that is because anger is trying to teach you something. There's something going on that you really don't like, and anger is screaming in your face about the fact that you need to do something about it, that something isn't right here. And so try to honor that. When you say, anger, I hear you, what is it you're trying to tell me? That automatically helps you detach from that emotion, and you can then understand why you're feeling this emotion, and it helps you see what you need to do. Maybe you get angry because a boss yelled at you for something that you didn't do, or is repeatedly calling you out for mistakes while they're not doing that to your other coworkers. You feel anger, and in that moment, you want to call your boss out. You want to tell him what a selfish jerk he is. You want to tell him that he doesn't even know what he's talking about. But when you stop and you're able to separate yourself from that anger and ask yourself, anger, what are you trying to tell me? Why do I feel this way? Then you're able to see that really what the anger is telling you is that you are enough, and that you should not be being put down in this way, and that you need to do something about this. You need to either look for another job, or you need to have a serious conversation with your boss that is constructive. And so when you recognize that, you're coming from a place of learning and understanding, and that's when you can maybe sit down and call for a meeting with your boss, or write an email by actually explaining what happened and then actually interacting with people, letting them know how it felt. It's actually healing for yourself. And so it's amazing what our emotions can teach us. But given that is also understand important to understand that you're not these emotions, that you are the being that is witnessing these emotions happening. And so therefore, you should not let yourself get overly attached to them. And at the same time, by acknowledging that you are not them, you are able to actually perform that disattachment. Every single emotion is teaching you something. Jealousy is teaching you that there's something that other people want that you haven't gone after yet. And so maybe when you notice jealousy in other people, that means that it's time to start yourself on working towards what they have that you want. When you feel happiness, it means that you're doing things right, that you need to continue and creating more of what it is that you're doing. Greed, that is when you feel a sense of lack. You are feeling that you have what you want, but you don't feel like you deserve to keep it, and you're worried about losing it. When you feel anxiety, it's because you are so afraid of maintaining things like perfection, or you're afraid of the future. And sometimes these emotions that are negative can be good. Like, for example, anxiety is a very natural, evolutionary emotion. It has what helped our species and all the species on the planet survive for so long. But now we aren't struggling and competing for food and hiding from predators every day. So we have this fear, but it's not necessarily helping us most of the time. And so recognizing your fear, and for me, I've noticed that a lot of times when I am afraid to do something, usually that's a really good indicator that I'm on the right track, because you fear the unknown. You fear things that are going to pull you and stretch you and help you grow and develop into the person that you're meant to be. And so in that case, that's good fear. You want to tap into that fear and you want to run with that adrenaline. The best example I can think of is public speaking. I love public speaking. I am terrified before I start a speech, start talking in front of people. But then afterwards, when I'm done with my speech, oh my God, I feel euphoric. I have all this adrenaline that was running during that entire time I was speaking, and I feel on top of the world. I feel like I can lift a building. It is so amazing. And so I think that when I'm speaking, I really lean into the fear, and I use that to give me more energy when I speak, to give me more of a presence. And so I think that you can apply that for a lot of different aspects of your life where you feel fear. Not all the time does fear mean that you need to lean into what is happening. For example, if you see a stranger at night who is approaching your car and you feel afraid, you should probably listen to that fear and drive away. We need to be able to tell the difference between when fear is helping us versus when it is hurting us. But a lot of times we know that difference. And so when it's something that is potentially threatening your life, threatening to break your heart, like sleeping with someone who has downright told you that they don't love you, that they're just using you, of course, listen to that fear. Don't do that. But when it's a fear of signing up to try a sport that you've always wanted to try, or a fear of going out and pursuing your lifelong dream of being a Broadway actor, you should not let that fear that comes up block you. Instead, recognize that fear as a sign, an indication that you are on the right track, because we grow and we become our best selves only by constantly challenging ourselves and pushing through fear. So please do begin noticing every single day what emotions come up based on what you're doing, and try your best. Try when it's easy. When you're just driving in the car, maybe you feel tired. Try to detach from that feeling and say, I feel tired. Why do I feel tired? Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. And then you can start building. And I've actually been able to figure out, especially like in school, I'm gonna be totally honest. In school, a lot of times I work really hard, and I work hard so that I get good grades, so that I learn, and so that I develop good relationships with professors. And sometimes when there's another student in the class who also is outgoing, answers a lot of questions, I find myself a little bit on edge. I find myself feeling a bit competitive. And because of constantly practicing tapping into what my emotions are telling me, what they mean, why they arise, I've been able to realize that that comes from an insecurity of feeling like I need the self-assurance of being the top of the class. And so then I'm able to realize that there's nothing that I hold against this person. This person is being a wonderful challenge to me in my life. And I'm able to let that emotion flow through me, and it makes you a much happier person. As you go farther along, you're actually able to catch yourself right in the midst of those really, really difficult overtaking emotions, which are anger, greed, sadness, and you can learn so much in those moments. So I really wanted to share this with you because I have been putting it into practice and it's super useful. It's also really useful for just forcing me to stay on track with those things that really matter to me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to check me out on Instagram at nurturing_compassion. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I will see you next week.